move to question number 2. Second question reads, what would you do to make TxDot projects a priority? And what are the most important projects? And we'll start with Mr. Olson.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to briefly address one of the Congressman's statements that he got $300 million for NASA. That's simply not true. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison did the heavy lifting for that. Washington, D.C. politician. But getting back to the question, Texas is the second biggest state in the nation, as we all know. Second largest in population, second in geographic area. We're a donor state. And if you don't know what that means for every dollar we send to Washington, we get 92 cents back. That's simply unacceptable. That must stop. We need to get back every dollar and more that we pay to Washington for our infrastructure and our transportation roads. And I will do everything I possibly can to fight for that money. I believe Texas dollars should stay right here in Texas. It's a big difference between myself and my opponent. In 2007, he voted to cut Texas oil and gas royalties from production on federal lands. The ratio had been 50-50, and it changed to 48-52, with the federal government getting 52 in Texas getting 48. I think that's unacceptable. He apparently thinks bureaucrats in D.C. can make better decisions than Texans, and I fundamentally disagree with that. I will fight to keep transportation dollars here in Texas so Texans can use it as they see fit.
Congressman Lampson.
Well, first of all, let me say that Kevin Hutchison serves in the Senate, not the House. And I work in the House. And I was one of the leaders of the he asked us not to, so let's not. As far as transportation is concerned, I think some of the most important things that we can be doing is working to recognize what's getting ready to happen to our region with the growth that we're going to experience over the next few years. And some of the things that we must address are mass transit and freight rail, because we're getting ready to experience a significant increase in containers that are going to be brought into our region because of the deepening widening of the Panama Canal. I am one of the leaders on the Transportation Committee as well. I've been there for 10 years. I have the relationships, I have seniority on the committees, I have sat through the authorization of 2 major transportation bills in the history of the last 10 years. And this next year will be the 3rd. I have the experience of knowing with whom to work in our district. I know how to follow the leaders of the municipalities, the counties, the Houston Galveston area council, our state legislative leaders, to be able to prioritize the projects that are going to help relieve the congestion that we're going to see as those containers get put onto our highways and our railways. We must be able to address that. And we must be able to make sure that we have greater strength than other places in the country. That's how you offset that significant contribution that we're making to other places in the country, by making sure that we get at least our share of those projects that make it easier for us to move ourselves to and from work, that make it easier for our businesses to continue to grow, to get the products that we manufacture here out of this country and the product that we bring in into our country. Seniority, experience, relationships with the key people on the committee to make sure that it's 22nd Congressional District of Texas that gets the grease when we start to squeak. I'll use that leadership in our behalf.
Mr. Olson, 1 minute follow-up.
With all due respect to the Congressman, seniority and relationships don't matter for very much unless you're willing to stand up for Texas and make sure that Texans receive every federal dollar they deserve in Washington. Voting to cut the oil royalties received, cut them down from 50-50 to 48-52 is not in the interest of our state. It's giving Washington more control over our future, and that is not what we need in Texas. We need more money. We need every dollar that we contribute to the through the federal gas tax fund to come back here, at least every dollar, back here to Texas.
First,